And that's the thing, is every piece of equipment we ever got, you would take it and cut it apart and resew it and change it in some way. And every guy in the platoon does it. And every guy does it a little bit different for his needs and requirements, right? Because the breacher wants something different than the sniper, wants something different than the platoon leader, right?
How good does that feel to be able to innovate technology and solutions that when you were there, you were like, man, I wish I had something better.
That's where all like the stretchers. So we build the lightest weight stretchers on the market for operators, because hiking up 12,000 feet in Afghanistan with a 12-pound stretcher that is only a stretcher and doesn't do anything else, you very quickly realize you wish you had something else. And
so you guys fabricated an innovative stretcher?
Correct. Yeah, actually 4 different options for the guys to choose from, depending on the mission, the requirements, what could possibly go wrong, all of those types of things.
And then we made it so that it all worked together, right? So it's not 4 individual litters. If you look at it, it's 4 individual products. But if you have the poles can go with everything, there's certain things that go with it. So now the operator can have a 7.5 foot ladder, a bunch of things. So it's a Swiss Army knife where you spread load that gear across the platoon or troop size or whatever. And then as you need certain parts and pieces, you can almost build it real quick and then roll out.
That's cool. So you can almost like, it could be a stretcher or a hammock. You can take things and make it whatever you.
Exactly. The biggest one, the one that was one of our first ones, is actually a bag that you use for collecting SSE, sensitive site exploitation. So we'd go on a target, grab all the computers, documents, and everything else like that. We'd put it into this big, basically duffel bag, big grocery bag or whatever. And so we made it so that it unzips down on the side and bottom, and then it opens up to a soft stretcher. And then you can put the poles in it, and then those poles can be put into a ladder. And so it makes it modular, but then saves weight.
And the whole system weighs less than a single stretcher that we were using before.
So you guys are literally out climbing 12,000 feet mountains, but you're doing that and you're thinking, God damn, I wish somebody would invent this thing. And then you're like drawing it up on paper.
And that's the thing, is every piece of equipment we ever got, you would take it and cut it apart and resew it and change it in some way. And every guy in the platoon does it. And every guy does it a little bit different for his needs and requirements, right? Because the breacher wants something different than the sniper, wants something different than the platoon leader, right? And just because of what their mission requirements are. And so we were like, man, why don't we just make this better from the get-go?
Talking about the S-lift, the soft lift system. So that bag right there actually was on an op when I was in Iraq. One of our partner force guys got shot, and we had to carry him or get him to the medevac helo in a chain link fence and some rugs that we took from another house. And we took this, picked him up, and because we didn't have a litter on this particular op, there was a very limited number of Americans on it and a higher number of partner force guys, and they weren't carrying our litter for us. We didn't have the backspace to do it. And we went without it because it's one of those things. I would much rather have a 20-pound radio than a litter. At least I can make communications with guys, and other guys were repairing breach equipment and other stuff. So there just wasn't space, and carried the guy, got him to medevac helicopter. And then on the flight home, I'm sitting here thinking, all right, we already carry this bag, SSE bag. And I was like, how can we make that into a stretcher? And I was like, oh, this and this. And literally called Zach like an hour later. And I was like, got on the ground. I was like, Zach, I got another idea for us. He's like, oh, and if we put poles in it and we do this, and then it just snowballed. And then that's just one thing leads to another very quickly. It's just, I think he and I complement each other very well on a lot of that stuff.
What do you think with the training of what you just described? So you're in a situation, you have to home-make the gear to get your teammate medevaced out. So you're grabbing anything you can carry them on, self-making your stretcher, right? From what I heard you say, you grabbed a chain link fence, threw some carpets on it, put them on it, carried them to the...
That is everybody in the SEAL teams. Everyone from the junior guy to the most senior guy in your platoon. And that's what was always like, you'll never have an organization like that ever, where it's just every single person is running on caffeine and hate, but they're problem solvers, and it's, hey, this sucks. And immediately when someone says that, you got 13, 14, 18 guys sitting there immediately saying, here's how we make it better, right? And they immediately go into solving how we get out of the suck. Everybody feeds off of everybody else's energy in there, and constantly, it's just he was talking earlier when a guy would get a new piece of kit and he's completely disassembling it and doing different things.
Somebody's learning from each other.
Yeah.
And it's what's interesting is when we sit and talk about how you had these thoughts based on, because a mentor told me when I was like 26 or 27, hey, whenever you use something that you're in love with, because I remember when the Nokia phone came out, and I was just like blown away. It's like Star Trek, and I can't believe this little phone. And anytime you fall in love with something, go buy some of the stock of that company, because the best investments are things you personally love using, because then you have a personal user experience. And when you think about where great innovations come from in business, it's from people that are trying to make things that are old better, right? And for you guys to be out risking your life basically every day for America and for your partners and for your teammates, and at the same time you're having all these entrepreneurial ideas.
That's the ADD, right?
You're like getting shot at. You're like, if we had this thing,
and make things a lot easier.
and so you come home and you start building a business, and now you're innovating a lot of those concepts. And I don't know if you want to say how large your business is, but if you're comfortable saying it, it's tens of millions, right?
Yeah, so last year we did just under 14 million.
$14 million.
The biggest one being Mapbach. The other operating company we've got is a supplement company as well. So those two combined did about 14 million.
14 million. So you've taken these ideas, you've converted them to actual workable products, and now you're selling those products. And you have some big ones you've been working on that if they come to fruition or come out the way you believe they're going to come out in very short order, it could be.
We're sitting right now, there's close to $200 million between now and 18 months from now of deals where we know it's us or one or two other companies.
So this is what I love about this show, Building Billions, because it's documenting people that are on the path of taking their ideas, taking their concepts, having the resilience to stick with it. It's not been easy for you guys, I guarantee you.
No, not at all.
That's part of the reason why we came to the 360